Hey folks, it's Maxwell here and welcome to a brand new TEW9 video. You join us today for the season finale, All In, the first attempt at a multi-day event with my major pay-per-view. I think I've done it right. So if I'm right in saying it won't show any previous results for day one, because it has been a day one before, but hopefully everything should pop up for day two. I hope I've split the pay-per-view card pretty well. It makes it look a bit more respectable. I think it is just over 300 minutes. So a couple of good matches on episode 1, and there'll be a couple of good matches in the second show. I'll do it all just in one episode. We don't have an opportunity to inspire the locker room. That will be for night 2. This was a show shared with Collision, the most protect everybody and rest everybody at all costs Collision that I could possibly have put out. But looking forward to it, as I say, good card for day 1 and good card for day 2. What I'll be doing after it, which you'll probably notice in like the All Out video and a few others, is I'll be doing like a kind of brand split, just swaps basically. I tend to do a thing where each brand loses like 3 baby faces and 3 heels to each other's brand. So you end up losing like 6 faces, 6 heels, and it switches it up a little bit. And of course we'll have the debut of the women's division, which looks likely of the second women's brand. It's just probably going to be shock horror, AEW Shine. I even typed into ChatGPT, I'm like, what do you think it should be? And I'm like, do you know what? That's exactly what I was thinking. You've got Shimmer, and Shine just seems to be the perfect idea. But anyway, that is for way down the line. We have 2 nights of AEW wrestling at All In. We are in Wembley Stadium for both of them. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And just to confirm, my first All In, I think, was an 80. And then a 95, and then last year's was a 100. I don't expect night 1 to be massive scores because I can't inspire. But night 2, we are literally going All In. Let's do it. So for night 1 All In, we have 43,514 people inside Wembley. Might be actually quite similar to what you'll probably see this year. I personally am not going, but I've been to the last 2. They were quite enjoyable. So we'll build up every storyline. We'll let you know how I've booked it going into this one. So I decided that if you're going All In, you may as well bring in as many of the top superstars around the world from New Japan and from CMLL as well. So Yota Tsuji comes under that category. He came on another little win on Ring of Honor, and not happy that one was Bryan Danielson. So I thought this was a good opportunity to try and help one of our partners get popularity and a good matchup. But obviously my user character is Bryan Danielson. I want to keep him as popular as ever because he's going to be quite happy to job to anyone down the line. So I might need that popularity to go with one of our guys. But anyway, good technical masterclass this one. Bryan picks up the win over Yota Tsuji in 21-19 with the label lock. 66 for Tsuji, 87 for Bryan. It's not Tsuji's main strength, but I felt like we could maybe work it with the stat he had. I think it was 71. Bryan's obviously an 87, and this segment itself was a 79. As Bryan comes back through the curtain, it's going to be basically like a tribute match to Nigel McGuinness. He's retiring in 3 months, so we'll give him one big match up here with a lot of technical wrestlers and brawlers on display. So it just says, you've had a hell of a career. The guys that will be joining your team, I've entrusted them to do this. You know, they're under my tutelage, and they'll literally do you proud with honour. So 80 for that segment, a little thing between Bryan and Nigel. The matchup was a decent little brawl, and it was the babyface team of Claudio Castagnoli, Mark Briscoe, and Paragons, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, who defeated Nigel McGuinness alongside Lee Moriarty, Adam Priest, and Hook. In 14:26, when Claudio pinned Nigel with the neutralizer. So this one was a 66. Interestingly, by the way, while Brawl start, and Hook had the in-ring performance way surpassed anyone else with the 79. But I felt like it was a good opportunity here to have Nigel in a kind of farewell matchup. It has a lot of like kind of Ring of Honor people in there, and it also has like my present Ring of Honor, which is obviously Moriarty, Adam Priest, and Hook. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with that one, even though it was only a 66. Moving along, we had that matchup for the TBS Championship. Of course, Diona won it at the Wrestle Queendom, and Roxy won the matchup to become #1 contender. So they had great wrestling and good heat, and Diona defeated Roxy in 14-18 by submission with a Fujiwara armbar. So this was her second defence of the TBS Championship in this Steal the Show matchup. 85 for wrestling and 80 segment overall. A 78 played a 91 in terms of in-ring. Both of them have pretty good chemistry together, which is good. Unfortunately, though, the psychology penalty sees this probably less than maybe an 83, 84 we could have got. But still, cool. You get plenty of development with both. Next up, we had this feud that's been on for a while. This is Darby Allin and Bronson Steiner. This was the one to end it all. This was the gimmick matchup, and it was about that had superb wrestling and great heat, and had Bronson Steiner defeat Darby Allin in a dog collar match in 21:45 with a gorilla press power slam, ending the matchup. So 88 for the wrestling here, an 88 segment overall. Darby brought a 91, Bronson brought an 81, and the lack of psychology. Could have even seen this into the 90s. Darby took a crazy bump as well. So my thinking behind this one, obviously it's really cool that the type of matchup obviously suits Darby's skills. But with Bronson, it was really a case of his popularity is high. I could probably go into the 90s, and that gives me a really solid main event heel going into 2029. So that was the reason for the win there. And I feel with these kind of losses, Darby didn't have any pop that he could gain, and he's always going to be someone you can have in this kind of situation and bounce back. Love booking that feud though. And after it, we just see Steiner basically standing above the fallen Darby Allin. 73. Wow. Next up was about that had sensational wrestling and fantastic heat. This was one of my attempts to try and get a 100 rated match. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Walter in 32-20 by submission with hurrah, another year, surely this. This was an epic matchup, and this was to have Zack Sabre Jr. win back the Ring of Honor World Championship. So 95 for wrestling, 86 crowd, 98 for the segment. Sabre Jr. with a 100, Walter with a 90. You lose the psychology penalty, you lose the selling. So basically, if we had a better role with psychology, thanks to the great chemistry and the creative success, this would have been a 100 rated match. So there was a few reasons to book this one again. I'm quite happy with Zack Sabre Jr. on the Ring of Honor brand. He'll carry that forward with his style of wrestling. Walter was champion, but Walter's going to be one that's going to move, just give him some fresh feuds. So I felt like this was a good opportunity to take that title back off him. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason for it. Just had like a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match 2 weeks ago in Ring of Honor, which Zack Sabre Jr. won. So yeah, should be fresh things ahead for both guys. Because whilst obviously you're repeating Zack Sabre Jr. as a babyface champion, there's going to be a lot of new challengers making their way to Ring of Honor. And obviously, celebration. We're in England, of course. Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be delighted. And the fans are going to go wild. 92. Next up was a fatal 4-way match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And this one has been built up over a couple of weeks. We had representation from Dynamite, we had representation from Collision. Reigning champions were DIY. We also had the Midnight Hour in here with FTR and the ever-improving Clark Connors alongside Gabe Kidd. And it was about to have some great wrestling and a decent reaction from a crowd. And we are investing in our future as Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors defeat the Midnight Hour, FTR and DIY in 21-18 when Gabe pinned Johnny Gargano with the sick kick, meaning they are the new World Tag Team Champions. So I'll probably make them not exclusive to any brand so they can float about and just face everyone, and we can try and get Connors to the popularity level of Gabe Kidd. 89 for the segment's fantastic in terms of in-ring performance. Gargano brought an 89, which is good. Gabe Kidd with a 94. Austin Creed with a 97. Holy cow. Fair play, especially when Kofi's only getting a 66. If Kofi retires, it might be an Austin Creed mega push. But of course we have to remember, the excellent chemistry and the tag team specialist will of course boost that score. And then after it, again just a little bit of a celebration between Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. 75 for this one, obviously Gabe in his home country, Clark Connors maybe not as over at this point in time, so that's why only a 75. Ironic, both struggled with off script, considering that Gabe does not want to do anything scripted, but still, it's fine. Moving along, next up, we have a storytelling matchup. We have basically this feud going for a little while. Ricochet poking fun at John Moxley, saying, you came here to change the game, and they'll look at it. We're nearly 10 years on, and you're a shell of your former self. So Ricochet gets the win over Moxley in 14-26. With the 6:30 splash. 80 segments actually pretty good. So my reasons for this one is I felt like it would be a clash of styles, and I still want to tell that story of Moxley like kind of losing and stuff like that. We do have an idea, we do have a good big plan for Moxley going forward. He's going to Ring of Honor. and he is going to be a player coach, so he's going to have a lot of stuff going forward for him, and it obviously lets Ricochet continue to be arrogant and big-headed. Over the top entrance for this one, that's why it's a 10-minute. We have the big video package, we have everybody going well for MJF. Cheeky, easy way to get 100, but hey, you've got to work it. 10 minutes, I think MJF in a big matchup would get a special entrance at a pay-per-view regardless of matchup. Now, his feud's been on for a few weeks with Switchblade Jay White, so these two are going to do battle tonight, and it was an exceptional matchup that saw MJF defeat Jay White, remember him, in 24-13. Please come back soon, Jay, with underhanded tactics. So these ones have been going at it for a while. Just MJF getting frustrated that someone's getting in his way to try and get that World Championship back. The rest of them was a 91, the crowd a 98, the segment a 90, both guys 91, and pretty good chemistry. But overall, really happy with that. So again, these are like decent scores, and it's like, if we could have inspired this locker room, we could have maybe added another 3 to each segment. So overall, pretty good stuff. We then had Mercedes working the crowd. She gets a big entrance. 89 for her. She's getting stale though. I think a lot of the stale stuff I'll probably sort out in the next couple of weeks. I wanted to kind of get overall in and kind of get the brand shifted about and new characters and new directions. So Mercedes matchup for this one is massive. I decided after Wrestle Queendom, why don't we just go with something not even epic. Let's go like a spectacle. Let's go the most overwhelming in the save, Mercedes Moné, against probably what a lot of people, at least in TW, could say like Mayu's probably one of the best female wrestlers about. So put the two of them together. Can you get something incredible together? I was going to hold it to All Out, but hey, if you need a rematch, you've got that option. So here we go. Mercedes Moné, Mayu Iwatani. Oh my god, it was so close. Oh, I did keep it as an epic. I wasn't sure if I went epic or spectacle. Exceptional matchup. Mercedes Moné defeats Mayu Iwatani in 27-18. I remember to keep it under 30 minutes this time with a bank statement. I was tempted to main event this, but because I wasn't a championship, I didn't. Epic matchup. 94 wrestling, 85 crowd, 99 overall. Mayu at 96, Mercedes at 93, and they end up having good chemistry because it was our first ever match together. If we did more near certainty match finishes, I'd have went with that, and we could have got 100. That is so gutting, but absolutely fantastic with these two. This is the joy about like a longer term save, like because obviously when you start with the women's division, not a lot of them are very over, and to get to that stage where you're close to like a 100 routine match with them has been worth the effort. It is actually 13 months since I started the save. It was May 2025, but to get a score like that, I'm delighted with that one. I just hope the main event doesn't flop now. So that was really good, absolutely fantastic. Really excited to see where we go with our women's division because obviously we have two brands, so a lot more people are going to get pushed. So we get 97 for Roman coming to the ring very, very slowly for the main event matchup. The one that's been going on for months and months and months. He's been so anti-AEW. He's trying to invade it with all his guys. He wants nothing to do with all these multi-tournaments. And he's going to beat down a broken Will Ospreay who's put his body through everything. Ospreay's only gets an 82, which is quite worrying in his home country. But here we go. Night 1 main event. Will Ospreay versus Roman is a 93. This was the spectacle. So there's a few things I'm going to note on here, right? So about that, sensational wrestling and fantastic heat. Will Ospreay defeats Roman in 32-13 by pinfall with a hidden blade. This matchup was designed to be an engrossing, story-driven spectacle that was slowly built up through psychology and worked towards a dramatic conclusion. This is the fourth defense of the AEW Championship for Will Ospreay. So 97 wrestling, 93 crowd, 93 segment. Ospreay brought a 98 and Roman brought a 96. So you gain a bit of points for the creative finish. We're always going to lose for the lack of selling. I felt that was going to happen. But it's the little note where it's like, there were times where there was a definite lack of psychology and display. It's like, well, we've just built up a psychological match. So surely, we would have got a much bigger penalty for that. So I'm surprised we actually got as high as a 93. It was a risk. But overall, really, really happy with the show for night 1. And yeah, Will Ospreay, after months and months, gets his big moment over Roman at Wembley Stadium. 99. So close. We increased our popularity in 12 regions, so that would just basically be places we've kind of lost pop in the last wee while, with some maybe our Ring of Honor shows maybe not being quite up to standard. I mean, for night one, you get 93 in there, and 99, and 90, 89, and 98. 88, there's some very, very good matches. But it's time to move on to night two. So it's now time for night two. So because this was the initial All In, this is considered legendary, so it's a bit of prestige there. So instead of the 50,000 we got last night, we could have got 140,000, although I do have the ticket pricing set for free to try and get attendance records. But we're just going to make sure it's the 90,000 sell out of Wembley. We've got a legendary band booked, we've got a special set booked, we have got the Inspire note on as well, so we had a good meeting. Everybody's ready to go. The card actually looks quite weak compared to the night before. Even I think it's maybe just looking back at last year's All In and seeing all the marquee matchups there. But obviously we've got that many great talented athletes that we can cover on two shows. But last year, Kenny versus MJF, EO versus Mercedes. So in the last 3 years, 100, 95, and 85. And to be fair, considering I was like maybe, let's see, May, June, 10 weeks into the save, and 85 was pretty respectable as we tried to get things up to speed. It's crazy to think like a year ago that was obviously the programme that real life was going with Hangman versus Mox. But we'll crack on it. As I say, we've already done half the video for night one. Here's time for night number two. So one note is our new lead commentator, Shima, is commentating for Gleek tonight. So we had to draft in Moro and Aloe for absolutely every segment. So that was a bit of a pain having to tidy all that up. So hopefully we still get some good ratings despite that. So I started off with a Casino Gauntlet match. We'll give the winner a title shot in the future. And we had some great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. And it was the Protostar Kyle Fletcher who won it in 20 minutes and 5. Just to give you a rundown of the other participants, we had Axel Dieter Jr., we had Bandito, we had Ben Carter, Chas Betts, Daniel Garcia, David Finlay, Dragon Lee, Eddie Kingston, El Clone, El Generico, Hechicero, Jack Perry, Jake Something, Josh Alexander, obviously the winner, Kyle Fletcher, Mike Bailey, Nick Wayne, Orange Cassidy, Pete Dunne, Ray Phoenix, and Sammy Guevara. So overall, an 88, some spectacular stuff there from the opener, only David Finlay off his game. So basically, I think the winner would have been Kyle over Bandito in the final, which I'm absolutely fine for. They've had a big rivalry on Collision, and I think because of the Inspire, we get a nice wee 88 out of that segment. But you've got a future Protostar main event run incoming. It is a wee segment just celebrating in front of the crowd, and that is a 77 for Kyle Fletcher. Our next contest is for the AEW Continental Championship. We've had a massive feud on Ring of Honor between Pac and Andrade. I think they've had a previous pay-per-view matchup, but I said I wanted to get our partners involved, so over comes Mascara Dorada from CMLL to make it a triple threat match. And about that had some superb wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. We had Andrade defeat Pac and Mascara Dorada in 23:45 when Andrade pinned Dorada with the Hammerlock DDT, meaning new champion alert. And it is Andrade as the new Continental Champion. So a good way to get off Pac without him taking the fall. And 95 from Pac and 80 from Mascara Dorada, probably just because of the lack of popularity within the United Kingdom in this one. And Andrade with a 92 would probably get a bit of a penalty as well because of the lack of psychology. But an 82, not too bad. Andrade, the new Continental Champion. Next up, Tony Khan probably made this segment flop, but it was really just to confirm the newest members of the AEW Hall of Fame. I decided to wait to this one, but as FTR, both Dax and Cash have been able to get it as a team, and Kenny Omega. So the only person that's eligible at the moment is Cody, because I'd set him as a future inductee, because I didn't think we'd get him back, and obviously he is back, but we'll wait till he's maybe turned back into a main event, or in AEW terms anyway, before we introduce him. But yeah, overall, you're 3 new members, and I think Tony Khan would be somebody to present that. So only a 65, blame Tony. Next up was a matchup for the TNT Championship. Mark Davis has been in an absolute tear on the Collision brand, and it's Dynamite's Brody King that stepped up. I really just needed a Wild Brawl matchup, and I felt like this was the perfect opponent for Mark Davis. Good wrestling, decent reaction from the audience. Davis wins in 15:02 with the airplane spin. It's his 10th defence of the belt. 80 for this segment. Davis win 90 has just been fantastic as a TNT champion, and I really want to keep that belt on him for now. Moving along, we had a 6-way matchup. Sorry, an 8-way. I ended up making it an 8-way actually, get more women on the show because we have such a stacked division. The winner, again, to get a future World Championship match. So this ladder match saw participation from Azumi, Tekla, Delta, Stephanie Vicure, Io Shirai, Jamie Hayter, and Tony Storm. A good way to get them all on the show. But it was in 24-19 the Starlight Kid who retrieved the item in an 80 rated ladder match. So spectacular stuff there in terms of performances. Starlight Kid went 92, so did Io Shirai. Stephanie went 88, sorry, as did Azumi, and Jamie Hayter went an 86. Io and Jamie are getting stale, as I say, there are people I'll work on once we start the post All In stuff. But overall, happy with that one. 88, good stuff. I'm going to end that position where there's going to be a lot of people with championship matches in the future. Next up, we had a bout that had a superb wrestling in it and good heat, and it was for the International Championship. We had Kaito Kiyomiya defeat Kevin Knight, Powerhouse Hobbs, and the debuting El Desperado in 14:58 when Kiyomiya pinned El Desperado with a Tiger Suplex hold. This was our Steal the Show matchup, hence why I went under 15 minutes. A 6th defence of the International Championship for Kiyomiya. As I say, his performances have been great by 92. A very good 91 from Kevin Knight. Sadly, in a position with him where his popularity won't grow. I can't get him to put more weight on and get more star quality, but the performances are clearly there. This one only gets to 74 though, because Powerhouse Hobbs has sustained a broken jaw, and unfortunately El Desperado was off his game on his debut. Next up, we had a bout that had sensational wrestling and a fantastic heat, and it saw Kazuchika Okada defeat Mystico in 28:32 with the Rainmaker. Okada needed an opponent, he called out anybody to step up, and Mystico was that opponent from the Dynamite brand. So that's my dodgy way of getting around them being on opposite brands. Epic matchup, 97 wrestling, 92 for the segment. Great performances, 96, 98. I do feel if you don't have Moro commentating and you go with Shima, you probably get a 96, 97 out of this one. But it is what it is. How was I know he wasn't going to be available? It's my bad. I have a lot of contracts that are basically handshake deals. Unless it's like my main people that WWE have tried to come in for. Everybody else is handshake. Just to, I don't know why I save money, it's not as if we're short, but it is what it is. 92 anyway. Next up, we had the Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. For the last couple of weeks, Willow Nightingale's been trying to motivate Chris Statlander, trying to get them over the hill, purely because of the defeat the last time. And this time they were successful in 9:45 when they defeated the Soviet Seductresses. Chris Statlander pins Natalia Markov with an Area 451. Storytelling matchup of the night, 67. And yeah, just a good way to give them the Tag Team Championships. Next up, we had the big war that we've had going on. The Elite defending AEW from the Outsiders. Obviously, the friends of Roman Reigns. In this case, it's been Drew Galloway, Jacob Fatu, and of course, aligning with Cody and helping him as well has been Kevin Steen. With a great wrestling match here, good heat, and it was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks defeating Drew Galloway, Jacob Fatu, and Kevin Steen in 21:39 when Kenny pinned Kevin Steen. 88, not too bad there. Weakest performance from Drew with a 78. Probably get boosted by Kenny's creative finish, and Kevin Steen's got a little bit stale, but overall, pretty solid stuff. We're now getting ready for our Women's Championship match. It is going to be an interesting one with Megan Bain's injury. But we have the over-the-top entrance for the challenger, which is, of course, Julia, which was a 78. It's a major event. You're going to have an over-the-top entrance for your world champion, Megan Bain. That is only an 83. And despite the injury, it's a very successful matchup. It was about that had superb wrestling and great heat. And Megan Bain defeated Julia in 22:49 by pinfall. This again was made to be an epic, and it was the 5th defence of the Women's Championship for Megan Bayne. 87 for the wrestling and 90 for the segment. I'm just not ready for her to lose the belt just yet. So you get a 78 for Megan, 96 for Julia. That's incredible. They have good chemistry, that boosted it. Good to know. The finish was a success. The injury slowed her down. The psychology would have hurt it. And Megan Bayne is also getting a little bit stale. So I'd like to think on another day, you maybe see that and put a bit of 95, but still fantastic stuff. It's just how popular Megan Bayne is. She's like just under 90 over. And I think there's a wee bit an idea of where I'd like to go with the women's division. But I might pivot because there's a few contenders for Megan Bayne at the moment. 2 matches to go. First off, over the top entrance, Hangman. This is a massive match. You're going to have a big entrance for Hangman as he gets ready to face Cody in one of Cody's first pay-per-view matches back in AEW. 89, or one of his first All In back at Wembley Stadium. 88 for Cody's entrance. You're going to get people being interested. He's going to have his special entrance, you know, how he's had them at WrestleManias. People are going to be curious to see his reaction or how people react to him. So it's all set up for Cody Rhodes versus Hangman. I feel this might fail with psychology, but it remains to be seen. Oh, it was a horrible one. It was a bout that had fantastic heat and good wrestling. Cody Rhodes defeats Hangman in 25:01 with the Crossroads. I made this an epic as well because it is massive stakes. 76 because they didn't click and it made for an awkward bout. Hangman 86, Cody with a 70. That's why you should always try stuff on house shows, but I always like to go blind. I always like to take the risk. And yeah, these two didn't click and that led for a poor matchup. That's a shame. Because I was really hoping we could build this feud going forward, but we need to see what direction we can take it in. And that leads us. I've had all those matches over 2 nights to our main event for the evening. We start off with the challenger. Swerve Strickland comes to the ring. Major entrance. You'll probably get somebody rapping for him. 93 for him and Prince Nana. The champ gets his one. 89. Interesting though that he gets the deserved better commentary. Mauro Ranallo was weak for his, but it wasn't for Swerve's. World Championship on the line. The last match of All In. Sold out Wembley Stadium. And it's a 93. It was a bout that had sensational wrestling and fantastic heat, and it's Swerve Strickland defeating Rush in 26:43 with a Swerve Stomp. I made this one the epic as well, and it means that Swerve is the new AEW World Champion. 95 for the wrestling, 88 crowd, 93 for the segment as a whole, 94 performance Swerve, 96 for Rush. The psychology, it seems like some people will get away with it, some people won't. I think it's quite rolly as well when they're kind of like low 80s. I think if you're into the mid to high 80s, you're fine. You're going to have somebody that can carry it. You're always going to take a risk in that kind of 80s. And I'm just hoping with more matches, people can develop that skill set. Pretty good chemistry, that lifted the match. The critics finish as well. But overall, no 100s over the 2 shows. Possibly could have got there with Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. But in terms of storylines, I feel like I have gotten everything over that I wanted to go over. Most of it was planned out very early, way before the invasion, and the fact to carry that through all summer puts us in a good position to head towards All Out. So we finish the show, Swerve celebrates as champion. I think we'll maybe get a 94, 95 for this one. Oh! Wow! Okay. This show didn't result in any popularity changes. The show was worse because it didn't meet as good as the previous night. You can tell I've not done many double nights. So that's in the future. Don't stack up night 1. Because I feel sometimes you get with WWE that stacked up night 1. You're kind of like, oh, night 2 carry it. Your show was flat because you didn't meet the pre-show requirement for creative energy. Okay. I've never heard that one before. But yeah. That's interesting. Well, no 100s here. And 99 this 78. So yeah. Mad that a game's been out for like, 2 years and I'm still learning stuff. That's crazy. Overall though, I was happy with the show. It's not really going to change anything, didn't lose any pop. And it just means it's something to learn from as we'll push towards yeah, All Out, which I think is in a few weeks in game, so it might take a bit of time to do the television shows leading up to that one. But yeah, cheers for watching. As I said, there'll be a few movers around. This is making me question if I want to do 2 night shows going forward. I probably will. I'll just learn to stack the second night more than the first night. Suppose I did take a risk, with putting Swerve and Rush as the main event, you've got everybody else in night one. So I did say at the start, I did feel that show 2 was a bit weak. I did say at the start of the second show compared to night one, but that's something I need to learn from, and that's fine. But yeah, thanks for watching, much appreciated. Let us know what you thought of the show, and yeah, get ready for some alterations, some changes, some surprises for All Out whenever that video gets posted. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.